Hey everybody, I am Haley Gray and I'm the founder in the Women's Entrepreneur Network, and I am coming live to you here on StreamYard in a bunch of different Facebook groups and on YouTube tonight. And I'm the owner of Fiercely Marketing, which is a small boutique digital marketing agency where we work with small business owners just like you to figure out and straighten out their marketing issues and problems and fix some really broken marketing. Tonight's topic, if you're on the live, give me a hashtag live. If you're on the replay, give me a hashtag replay. We're going to be talking about why so many advertising campaigns fail, and they fail badly. And I wanted to do this because I've noticed a trend lately with people in the online space, and even when I try to have really blunt conversations with clients and prospective clients, they don't always believe me until they see something fail. Y'all, I don't have any reason to want to see my clients fail. And I have every reason to want to see my clients succeed. So when I see something happening and I see people making these mistakes over and over again, I feel like I need to speak up and I need to educate the general public, and I need to really educate people around me on what is going on with why ads fail. And this is not just Facebook ads or Pinterest ads or LinkedIn ads or anything, but I'm seeing a lot of people who are throwing money at a situation and they're not working. And they're convinced that advertising just doesn't work, or that doing ads simply doesn't work. And that's not really the case. But it is absolutely the case that there are some really, really strong reasons why advertising does tend to fail. So raise your hands if you've ever done ads on, say, Facebook or Google, and it seems like it was just a complete waste of money. Like you just pissed money down the drain. You just literally poured money right down the drain. Thank you, Charlene. I appreciate your kind comments. So, raise your hands if you have ever felt like you're just pouring money down the drain when you're doing ads, whether you're doing Google ads or Facebook ads. I hear it all the time from people. And, it's important to know that you've got to be on the right platform with the right ads. And ads absolutely do work if you have a plan and you have a strategy. They work pathetically poorly if you use the wrong ads on the wrong platforms with inadequate funding. So, one of the first reasons that I see ads fail spectacularly is that you do the ads on the wrong platform. And I'll give you a perfect example of this. Say that you are an auto mechanic and you are looking for people who are looking for oil changes and tires. Your cost per client acquired is going to be much, much lower on Google pay-per-click ads than it is on Facebook. Just period, across the board. Hey, Eric, good to see you. And y'all feel free to hit me up with your questions as we go with this. So if you are an auto mechanic, doing Facebook ads may not make sense to you unless your profit per client is pretty darn high. It's just not going to be worth the cost per client acquired, right? But if you are doing a Facebook challenge, like I do Facebook challenges all the time. I do a Build Your Tribe challenge that starts next week. We're talking about how to build a Facebook group. Y'all, that would just blow up spectacularly, and not in a good way, to advertise that on LinkedIn or to advertise it on Google. The reason it would do poorly on Google is it is a very time-bound thing. And, it's just not something that people are necessarily going to be looking for in exactly that way on Google. So the pay-per-click, the searches are just not going to be there. Coaching programs tend to do really badly on Google. But imagine that I did it on LinkedIn. Well, that probably wouldn't be the right platform there either, because people are probably not looking on LinkedIn to build a Facebook group. So think about your platform and where you're advertising. Doing the ads on the wrong platforms is guaranteed to make them fail every single time. The other reason that I see ads fail quite a bit is lack of budget. Let's get really real here. Running ads can be amazing. It can be amazingly profitable, but you have to have the budget to run ads for a few months, and you absolutely have to sell where they buy, right? And you have to get the ads in front of people over and over and over again so that they know who you are. If you are not running ads consistently for a certain amount of time, if you're only doing them for a month, it's probably not going to be enough. If you're only doing $10 or $20 or $30 worth of ads, it's probably not going to be enough money. If you are trying to launch an online course, I can guarantee you that throwing $1,000 at ads to launch an online course is going to be ludicrous, and it's not going to work for so many reasons. So not having enough budget is probably going to kill your ads. The other thing too, let's talk about cost per client acquired. If you are coaching and you're doing high-end coaching programs and you're getting people onto a webinar, and you're perfectly happy spending $500 or $1,000 per client that you acquire because you're making $10,000 on a client, then that could be a really good value for you. But if you're not making that kind of money on each and every single client that you acquire, it's probably not going to work so well, right? If you only make $50 on a client for every client that you acquire, it's probably not going to be a good deal. I had this conversation with a prospect and with a client who's had us do a lot with his website. And honestly, what ended up happening is we had the conversation of, how much do you make per client? They have a window washing business. Their window cleaning business didn't make enough in profit to justify what it was going to cost to run the ads. And we can just do the mathematical calculation and say, okay, are you comfortable spending $50 to $75 per client to acquire a client? And they couldn't do it because they didn't make enough in profit to be profitable after paying for ads. This is a really good question, Eric. What percentage should ads dollars to revenue be? It really depends on your business and how profitable you really are. So if you are highly profitable, you could probably have a higher percentage. You could probably even have 20 to 30%. If you are razor thin margins, you're not going to be able to do that. You're going to have to keep it at 1 to 2, maybe 3%, right? You're not necessarily going to have the same dollars to throw at things. So it really depends on what your business is and what your profit margins really truly start to look like. So the other reason that I see things fail is, and this is something that I made the huge mistake of doing early on, is doing ads, doing cold ads. And when I say cold ads, means that you're just running ads to a sales page. Running ads to a sales page, if you're not giving a freebie away first or something super low cost first, and you're comfortable with spending $20 to $30 per client that you acquire, is not going to work. If you're trying to send cold traffic to an ad for a page, for a landing page, it's a $1,200 offer, it's probably not going to get you very many sales at all. It's probably going to be not at all successful. So how do you define profit? So it depends on what accounting method you use. If you're using a profit first type of accounting method, or if you're doing traditional accounting, it's, expenses So revenue minus expenses equals profit. And if you're still not able to pay, the bills, if your revenue minus your expenses doesn't equal a positive number, then you've got a problem, right? I understand profit first, but at the end of the day, if you don't make more money than it costs you to get a client, then you have a problem. And that's on average, because there's some clients that we will agree to be a loss leader, but it doesn't mean that we should necessarily go for that a ton. You have to understand on average what a client is worth to you. And that gets into some heavy duty, crazy accounting stuff. So if the lifetime value of a client, once you've got a lifetime value of a client and the average value of a client is much higher, then if you have a couple clients here and there that you lose money on, then that may be okay. But you need to be very careful of that, because you can very quickly run yourself into a hole in business by not being adequately profitable across enough clients. And one of the things that you start to learn as you've been in business a little bit longer is that there is a certain small percentage of your clients that are going to be the most profitable clients, and then you're going to have a vast majority of clients that are not nearly as profitable. And in order for you to maximize your profit, you need more clients that look like the ones that are the most profitable and less of the clients that look less profitable. So when you start looking at ads and how you're generating clients and what kinds of clients you're getting, and where you need to really be analyzing what that entire ad pipeline looks like start to finish. And then once you have a client on board, you have to really look at, okay, what is this client worth to me? How much are they spending? Do they keep coming back for more, or do they not keep coming back for more? And how is this all working for me for my business? We could go into an entire semester of MBA-based lectures kind of talking about these things, but really you've got to make sure that you're going after the clients that are the most profitable over time so that you're making money in your business. The other reason I see ads fail a lot is no clear strategy in your advertising. It is super easy on Facebook, on Google, on Pinterest to just pay them to drive more traffic to see a live. It is easy to boost a post. It is easy to send more traffic to, some blog post on your website. If that is not part of a larger strategy in your business and part of a larger plan where you've drawn out, okay, now they're going to go here and they're going to go here and they're going to go here and they're going to go here. If you are not tracking that whole process, if every single ad that you are doing is not part of an overwhelming strategy and a very clear, concise strategy to grow your business, then your ads are most likely going to fail. I'm a big believer. I have a ton of followers on social media. I have 71,000 people in Women's Entrepreneur Network. I'm going to tell you this flat out, honestly, you can't eat your followers. Having a large number of followers, doing ads to get followers just for the sake of getting followers. I have 23,000 people on my main Twitter account. Just for the sake of having followers does not necessarily correlate into sales. Some people with the smallest numbers of followers do really, really well. Generating big numbers of followers without a clear strategy is going to be painful in your business, and it's going to cost you a lot of money. Exactly. Spend less, organize more, spend more time on the planning stages. Do the unsexy planning stuff first, and you'll make a lot more money, and you'll make it a lot easier, and you'll make it a lot faster. And I mean, if I could boil this whole conversation down, is do the planning first. Don't just randomly start running ads. That's the whole point here. The other reason ads fail is the wrong call to action, right? If we don't have a clear call to action, if people don't know what we want them to do next, if people land on our main website and they don't know what we want them to do next, what do? They do absolutely nothing. If we have multiple calls to action, what do? Absolutely nothing. The more you confuse people, the less they tend to do that you want them to do. Spend less, organize more. Thank you, Eric, for that quote. You know, this may be the quote of the night. The other reason the ads fail is the wrong audience. You know, if you don't test out different audiences, if you don't look at different audiences, if you're targeting wrong, if you've got the wrong target audience and you're advertising, well, you may find yourself with really poorly performing ads. It's just a thing. You've got to test different audiences in different parts of the country and different parts of the world and see what performs and what converts the best. And you've got to do a full end-to-end test to see what's actually going to work for you and what's not actually going to work for you. Yeah, you win the prize. Woohoo! Yay, Eric. Congratulations. The other thing that causes ads to fail, you have the wrong audience or you have the wrong message. If you don't have a clear, concise message that appeals to people, then it's not going to convert. And here's the thing is, a lot of times we think that we can do one or two messages and try that and see what works. Unfortunately, marketing is not nearly so easy. Sometimes you've got to try 1, 2, 3, 10, 100 different messages, different variations on the same thing to see exactly what sticks with people and where they decide to convert. So building a single landing page, building a single course, building out everything from end to end, and in relying heavily on the fact that you got it absolutely right on the first try without testing is guaranteed to fail. And unfortunately, you know, a lot of times we spend so much time trying to get the perfect funnel the first time. And we spend all this money before we ever test anything. And you know what? It fails spectacularly. I did it. I spent a lot of money building out the perfect funnel and then having it blow up spectacularly. Be clear, not loud. And a lot of times you can lead while whispering. It's amazing how you can be super clear and super concise and be very clear on which clients are the most profitable. Be super clear on who exactly you want to attract, right? The other thing too is not being narrow enough with your targeting. I see so many people in business that struggle with their targeting. I hear chiropractors all day long. I work with everybody from birth to death who has a spine. Great. You might very well work with everybody from birth to death who has a spine. But the problem is that's not a really great marketing strategy, because everybody from birth to death who has a spine is not necessarily going to buy from you. Chances are, if you sit down and you look at your practice and you look at the 20% of people who are the most profitable to your practice, you're going to see a trend on who is the most profitable, where you make the most money. Track those people down, figure out who they are, figure out what their demographics are, figure out what their interests are and what makes them tick and why they bought from you in the first place. And go get more of those people rather than try to advertise to the people on the fringes who are going to find you anyway. It's not like you're going to turn away clients. And you go after the people that are the most profitable for you, for your business. And it could be completely, you know, unobvious. So for me, a lot of times, you know, I started off my business as Leadership Girl, and then I found out that 80% of my clients were men from time to time. So that definitely wasn't it. You know, so work on the deep, not wide. Absolutely. And it's important that you really be targeting people with your ads. How do you do it better? You warm people up, you build a platform, you build your connections, and then you start doing ads. Once you've started testing your message, Test with small amounts of money, but be ready to spend bigger amounts of money as you start to nail down your messaging. Know that it can take 3, 4, 8, 10, 12, 15 months to get your ads dialed in. It's not because people aren't trying to help you, but if we're doing it right, we're going to spend small amounts of money up front, and we're going to fail early, and we're going to fail often. Trust me, failing early and failing often is not a sign of somebody who's bad at what they're doing. Failing early and failing often is a sign of somebody who's really excellent at doing ads, believe it or not. Figuring it out, testing multiple strategies, testing different messages, testing different images, figuring out what works, testing different audiences, different platforms, and figuring out until they can dial in and see what's going to get you the best results. And guess what? Here's the thing about advertising that nobody really wants to tell you is Facebook, Google, LinkedIn, Pinterest, every single platform keeps changing every single thing they do from day to day. So something that may have been working for you yesterday may not work for you tomorrow. So somebody who's doing ads for you, or if you're doing your own ads, be prepared to keep changing because the algorithms keep changing. What the different platforms like keeps changing. Be ready to keep changing things to reflect the changes that happen on the platforms. Just because it worked yesterday doesn't mean that it's going to work for you tomorrow. And unfortunately, that is the reality of social media. I can tell you strategies that I used to use for marketing 5 years ago absolutely would get me put in Facebook jail now, and I wouldn't even try them. I can tell you I am not going to go into multiple groups and sharing the same graphics in multiple groups or the same posts in 23 different groups. And I will tell you that we absolutely did that a couple of years ago because you'll get put into Facebook jail faster than you can say the words Facebook jail. So things that worked yesterday may not work today because Facebook may decide to change its algorithms. They may decide to change their rules. You've got to keep up with that and understanding that. And Facebook has changed and Google has changed and every single platform has really changed their advertising platforms in the last year because of all of the laws that go around, finance and discrimination and all of that stuff. It has changed dramatically. So you have to stay on top of it when you are doing ads. So I hope that this helps. If you would like to have a conversation with me, I would love to have a conversation with you. Book a free consultation. I posted the link in the chat. Also, I'm posting the link here. Let me know what questions you guys have, and I'll be checking. Feel free to message me on Facebook. I'm Haley Gray. Make sure that you, start a chat. I am happy to have you have a conversation with me. I'm not here to sell you anything. Honestly, I don't do sell. I don't do the hard sale thing. I'm just here to be a service. And if I can be of better service to you, it does things better. Absolutely, Eric. Know the rules of the game you're wanting to play and know that the rules keep changing. It's like, dealing with a bunch of kids in middle school where the freaking rules kept changing over and over and over again. And only the cool kids knew what the rules were. And the rest of us who are not the cool kids kept having to figure out what the heck the rules were because I was always the one who was the last one to find out. And that's just the way it is with Facebook. Even if you go through and do their certifications, I did the Facebook Certified Community Manager training over the summer and I became certified on October 1st. And let me tell you, things constantly change. Facebook is making huge investments in groups. They're making huge investments in the platform and things are constantly changing. The only constant in this field is change. So I'm going to do something that I frequently do, and I'm glad to be back after the holidays. And I frequently will do a card for fun. I will do an Oracle card pull. So I use a deck called Love Your Inner Goddess. And I will pull a card if you ask me to pull a card for you. If not, I'm just going to go ahead and pull one here. But I'm happy to pull one and do an interpretation for you. This is the book we're using. This is the Love Your Inner Goddess deck. And happy New Year. I hope that this helps you guys because I see a lot of people really, really frustrated by doing ads. Really frustrated. I deal a lot with social media. I deal a lot with websites. We deal a lot with ads. We deal a lot with search engine optimization. And let me tell you that there are a lot of things out there that are not so great in this world. Pull away. Woohoo! I gotta give the cards a second to see what we get. Okay, here's what we got. Ooh. How cool is this one for the first card pull of the year? It is wild and free. And this just really feels like great energy. All good things are wild and free. This will stay posted in the group. So don't think that we're not going to go delete anything in any of the groups. This is an important time in your life when you are being guided to lead from your heart, even if it makes no sense to you or anyone else, or if your mind screams at you with fear and doubt. Don't ignore what your heart is telling you. Give yourself the time and space that you need away from the noise and demands of the world and other people so that the quiet, sure voice of your heart can be heard. Then take courage and act upon what you feel. Your heart is wise and worthy of your trust. So if anybody would else like a card pull, let me know. I mean, I think it's a great time. You know, it's the beginning of January. It's January 3rd. And so much fun stuff. Wild and free. No, you need structure and control. You know what, Eric? I believe that we all need a bit of both in our lives. We need the structure and the control, but we also need the ability as entrepreneurs sometimes to go off script and change things up and, you know, listen to our heart and our minds and our souls. And honestly, I also think that, you know, part of the structure and the control is the testing and the change and, you know, working through the decision-making stuff in our businesses. You know, there is nothing more important to business than adaptation. I think that the last almost 12 months since COVID started have proven just how important it is to be able to adapt and change and pivot in our businesses so that we can stay in business, so that we can be profitable, you know, so we can take care of our families and do the things that we need to do while making money without wanting to pull our hair out. I've had 3 of my 4 kids at home kind of nigh on constantly. And it's been, you know, really interesting learning to pivot and change and do the things that we need to do to take care of the family during this time. And it's been a really interesting and good, but also challenging time at home, you know, with helping clients, with working with people, but also the changes that have necessitated happening in my own business. Okay, you can do wild and out of control tomorrow from 8:15 to 8:17 a.m. Perfect. Love it. I look forward to hearing exactly what wild and out of control means to you, and what all you're going to do in a wild and out of control kind of way. But wild and free is not necessarily wild and completely out of control. I mean, to me, it's more, you know, listening to your heart and listening to your spirit and doing the things that are most important for you. So whether that is having absolute structure, and for me, there's a ton of structure in my life. I live by my calendar. I have an operations manager who will kick my butt into doing certain things at certain times. And, you know, I've learned how important that structure and that process is in business to allow things to go forward. But I've also learned how important it is to be able to sometimes go a little bit off the rails and make things happen. So I hope you guys have an awesome night. Take care. Let me know how I can be of assistance to you in your business. And thank you to everybody for letting me go live in your groups. I genuinely appreciate it. Happy New Year, everybody, and have a wonderful night. Take care. Bye-bye.